Would you like to know how the mind creates our reality? In this video, you will learn this from the ancient yoga textbook called Srimad Bhagavatam. So stay with me. I will first share the screen. Just a second that I get it. Okay. So you can see on the screen, this is a textbook from Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is Canto 11, Chapter 9, Text 22. I will actually chant also the Sanskrit because it's beautiful and it has very auspicious effect on our consciousness when we listen. Yatra yatra manodehi darayet sakalam diyas nehadveshad bayat vapi yati tatat swarupatam. And translation: if out of love, hate, or fear, an embodied soul fixes his mind with intelligence and complete concentration upon a particular bodily form, he will certainly attain the form that he is meditating upon. So I would like to explain a little bit what does this mean. And before that, also request the blessings and the mercy of my spiritual teachers with this auspicious mantra. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. And this means I offer my respectful obeisances to my spiritual teacher who has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So this is very amazing in this text. This is a great secret, and it is actually a great science of how the mind actually works. And here we actually have it like it's pinpointed. What are the important factors here so that the mind will create the reality? There has to be some emotion. Especially intense emotion, where there is some intense emotion of either love or negative, like fear or hate or anger. And a person concentrates his mind and intelligence on a particular image, on a particular form, like what this in practical life looks like. Usually it's when we meditate on some person. Like, for example, you know, when somebody is in love, he meditates on his beloved. And this is this is actually explained here. So with intense emotion, one is meditating on a particular form of another person. So if one is doing this with this meditation, you see, meditation is not just when you do yoga or when you sit down, cross legs. No, every single one of us is engaged in meditation and contemplation. We all do this, but unfortunately, most of the time, we are not even conscious. We are not even aware what we are meditating about. It just happens like spontaneously or in a subconscious way because of our attachment. We are practically forced to meditate with great attention, with great concentration, and with intense emotion on a particular form. So I would like to actually tell you a story. And this story is also explained here in the next verse. So once upon a time, there was a wasp. And we know wasp is quite a heavy animal, kills smaller insects and eats them. So this wasp captured a smaller insect, and then the wasp brought this smaller insect in her nest. And then just, it's actually explained in elsewhere that she actually, she already hurt this insect. So this insect was already paralyzed. It couldn't escape, but it was still conscious. It was fully conscious. And when the wasp left this insect in her nest, and then she flew away. And while she was gone, this little living entity, this little insect, was in a terrible fear, totally traumatized, and just expecting his captor and killer to come back anytime and kill him completely. And so his whole being was focused on the form of the wasp. And with great anticipation and fear, this little insect was meditating on wasp. So what happened then is explained here, that even without giving up his body, he gradually achieved the same state of existence as the wasp. Thus, one can achieve a state of existence according to one's constant concentration. So, to make it even more clear, this little insect was meditating in great fear on the wasp. And through this, a transformation took place within his mind. So his mind actually entered the existence of a wasp. So although he was externally still a little insect, internally, that little insect already acquired the qualities and the characteristics of a wasp. And then what happened? Of course, wasp came back and killed him. And according to the law of karma, the living entity actually achieves the body which completely represents his last thought. And guess what was his last thought? Yes, I'm sure you guessed it right. It was thought of a wasp. So this living entity became a wasp in his next life. But it is explained here actually that even before that, even before his death, he already achieved the existence of a wasp. So here I would read a little bit of a purport also. So the following question may be raised. Since the weaker insect in this story did not physically change his body, how can it be said that he achieved the same state of existence as the wasp? Actually, by constant meditation upon a particular object, one's consciousness becomes filled with its qualities. Due to extreme fear, the smaller insect was absorbed in the characteristics and activities of the large wasp, and thus entered into the existence of the wasp. Due to such meditation, he actually took the body of a wasp in his next life. So through this story, we can actually understand how each and every one of us is creating our own reality. Right now, by our mental absorption, by our mental contemplation, by our, most of the time, subconscious meditation, we are not even aware what are we absorbed into. our mind is just drawn to certain thoughts or to certain forms because of our attachment, and we just contemplate and meditate. But this is then how we create our reality, because our mind will take up the qualities of that thing or person or image that we are meditating upon. We will acquire these qualities. I can tell you actually another very interesting story. And this is actually a story which gives you the same message, but in a little different way. This is a story about a prostitute and a brahmana. A brahmana is like a learned person, spiritual person who has a lot of spiritual knowledge. So once upon a time, there was a brahmana who lived accidentally. His home was just opposite of the home of a prostitute. And he had like a little balcony where he spent a lot of his time. And from his balcony, he could see the prostitute and, you know, the activities that were taking place. He could see prostitutes, customers entering her house and then coming out. And this brahmana, this learned man, he was just like completely upset. Oh, and he was thinking in his mind, oh, look at this prostitute. Just look at this prostitute. How fallen she is. Just look what she is doing. She is just engaged in all these illicit activities, in these abominable activities. Just see, another customer came. Oh, and today one more came. Oh, even one more came. Oh, so many customers she had today. And I bet they don't even think what they are doing together. So in this way, this brahmana was fully engaged in meditating upon a prostitute and her activities, while at the same time the prostitute, she was actually very, very spiritually inclined and actually very devoted to God. But unfortunately, she had this profession, which is not very respectable profession. So she was just performing her profession, but at the same time, she was always meditating on the spiritual thing. And also, she was often seeing this brahmana, and she was always glorifying him in her mind. Oh, how wonderful he is. He is so pure. He is so spiritual. He is so connected with the Supreme, with the divine. Oh, I wish I could become like him. I desire so much that I could become like him. And in this way, both the prostitute and the brahmana were creating their reality. So this became soon actually obvious because of the results that they achieved. Brahmana actually became degraded. He degraded himself by his constant criticism, so constant negativity, and especially meditating on the most abominable things regarding the prostitute in his imagination. But the prostitute, she was full of positive thoughts and positive desires and meditating on spiritual things. She actually became elevated. So this is how we create our reality today, right now. So now I want to ask you to just do one little exercise today. just observe your mind from time to time during the day and write down, what is your absorption? What is your mind meditating upon? Just write down, because this will actually help you understand what is the reality that you are creating for yourself right now. Because for sure, this will come true. This will, from the internal subtle vibration on the level of the mind, this gradually manifests in our external reality. So it will also manifest for you. So I would like to stop here, and I'm very excited to read any comments and questions that you might have. So if you want some more discussion, please write down, and don't forget to subscribe and watch another video, which will give you even more insight into the workings of the mind.